Hi everyone, reporting here from front yard of my house in Los Angeles again. I was going to be in England this past weekend at my favorite festival of all time, which is Download. I try to go as many years as I can, but this year business got in the way and some timings and things like that, so I didn't get to go, even though Black Star Riders were on. But from all accounts, it was a fantastic show, some really great things, and of course, it was also the last time Motley Crue played, and because, you know, at the end of the year they're retiring, of course, so this was their last Download that they'll ever do. And Kiss also headlined the last night, which brought back a lot of my memories from back about 3 years ago when we did the very last Thin Lizzy tour, and it was supporting Kiss and Motley Crue in Australia. There were some really cool things that came out of that. I remember, well, let's start with Mick Mars. One of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. You know, I don't think it's fair that somebody as cool as him has been afflicted with this horrible disease that he has, but he's so friendly to everybody, and he's such a nice conversationalist, and the man loves chocolate. I don't mean likes, I mean loves. In fact, I don't think I ever saw him eat anything but. I had long conversations with him about the pros and cons of Smarties that originate in Canada versus the UK, and M&Ms and all of these wonderful things. Lovely man. I think the world of Mick Mars, and be following anything that he does. Nikki Sixx was also always hanging out with us on that tour. He's a big Lizzy fan and such a nice guy. He would just come and hang out with us every day and shoot the shit, and super good guy. Vince was more on his own, but anytime you got to see him or hang with him, he was very friendly. And Tommy just comes across as incredibly shy. But we had a great time with those guys. And the Kiss guys, the whole Kiss camp is just amazing people. Their crew, the band themselves, everybody treated us like gold. We had such a great time with them. It was really great. And it makes me think of, you know, all of the crew from both Kiss and from Motley Crue were big Lizzy fans, and every night that we'd be playing our set, they would be down in the pit in front of the stage checking things out and loving it. And one of the most touching moments I've ever had in this whole business was on the very last show that we did. It was an outdoor show. It was the only outdoor show on the whole tour, and the dressing rooms were quite a distance from the stage, so they would transport you in a van from the dressing rooms over to the stage. And I remember when we drove over there, and everybody in the whole camp kind of knew it was probably the last Thin Lizzy show. And when we came off stage, both crews were just lined up on the whole walkway back to the van that would take us to the dressing rooms, and they all applauded, and it was a very touching moment, very touching. Anyway, be interesting to see what Motley Crue does after this. I mean, they have made such a big deal out of this contract and that they're never going to tour again, and who knows what that really means. I mean, those things are open to such bizarre interpretations sometimes. But hey, those guys are great songwriters, and I hope that they don't give it up entirely. I mean, Mick has already said that he's going to be doing another band on the side. Nicky's always got stuff going on. Vince does his solo thing. Tommy does his thing. I mean, I'm sure that they'll all be busy, but it'll be weird living in a world where there's no Motley Crue, you know what I'm saying? And Kiss continues to storm stages across the world, bringing their particular brand of over-the-top showmanship to stages everywhere. And I personally love seeing Kiss live. There aren't many bands that can do better. So what I thought I'd do is I'd tell you a little bit about the very first Kiss album that I ever had. When I was, 8 years old, I was living in a part of Alberta up in Canada called Medicine Hat. And I was a Boy Scout. I was part of the Boy Scout thing. And one weekend, we were allowed to go down to the closest American city, which was called Havre in Montana. And there was a state fair going on there, and we were billeted with families, and so I went to the state fair with the young boy from the family I was staying with, and we wandered around the grounds. And I remember walking along and suddenly looking down and seeing a very odd piece of paper, and I snatched it up and I unfolded it and looked at it, and it looked like a piece of Monopoly money. And my naivete shone through, because I had never seen American currency up until that point. So I turned to the boy and I said, "What's this?" And he said, "Oh, that's 10 American dollars. Put it in your pocket. You're lucky you found $10. So I did just that and didn't think much more about it, and ended up taking it back to Canada with me. And I showed it to my mother and I said, you know, what can I do with it? She said, "Well, since you found it, you can spend it on whatever you want." Now, I was already big into music at this point, and we lived in a house that the neighbors were this elderly couple that had a grandson that would come and visit them quite often. He was a few years older than me. His name was Laurie, and he'd come over and he'd play me whatever music he was into. And one of the biggest things that he was into was Queen, A Night at the Opera. We played that album every day from beginning to end. I had built a drum kit out of cardboard boxes, and he had a broom for a guitar, and we air guitared for hours to those songs, and they really made a big deal to me. And so when my mom said I could spend it on anything I wanted, I was bound and determined to go buy my very own copy of A Night at the Opera. So with all due haste, I ran downtown to the record store and I charged in on a mission. Ran straight up to the rack where all the new releases were, and suddenly was confronted with this banner above the top of the displays. It was a long banner that showed this destroyed city with this quartet of dancing demons that were all over the ruins of it. And I just stood there in awe, and I turned to the shopkeeper and I said, "What's that?" And he said, "Oh, that's the new album from a band called Kiss called Destroyer." And I said, "I don't know what that is, but I gotta have it." So I bought it and I ran home, burst into the house through the front door without breaking stride, grabbed my mother's tape recorder from the kitchen counter, dashed up to my brother's room and slammed the tape recorder on his bed, showed him the tape, the front of the tape, and I said, "I don't know what this is, but we gotta listen to it now." Smacked it in the deck, hit play. We both sat there with just anticipation of what notes were gonna come out of there. And from the opening chords of Detroit Rock City, not only did I become a Kiss fan, but I was a massive music fan from that point forward. And on the topic of Kiss, the last little tidbit I'll tell you about from that tour, we were, it was a special treat for me to be on tour with Kiss, and you get to go out every night and see them play and interact with them and all that. So I don't remember exactly where we were. I think it was Melbourne, or who knows. It was one of the cities on the dates. And I was in the dressing room with the Lizzie guys. I was talking to Scott Gorham and looked at my watch and realized that it was about time for Kiss to take the stage. So I made my excuses and said, "Look, I'm gonna go out and watch Kiss for a while." And Scott kind of looked at me and he said, "You know, I've never actually seen them play. I'll go with you." And now understand that in the years that I've been working with Scott Gorham, he doesn't go see anybody play. And if he does, he doesn't stay for more than a song. So he came out to the front and we watched the entire show together. At the end of it, he was so blown away, he just turned to me, he said, "I get it. I'm a member of the Kiss Army now. I think these guys are amazing." So there you go. That was a fantastic tour, and I really want to say thank you to everybody on that tour who treated us so well. You're all just awesome. So I will get you with the next update in a few days.